Hello and welcome to HNS Academy. In today's video, we're going to learn how to use the Microsoft Excel software. So let's get started. As you know, most of you must have heard about the data entry jobs. So the software which is used for data entry mainly is the Microsoft Excel, because it makes the data entry work very efficient and it is easier and quicker to do through Excel. So first thing we need to do is how to open the Excel software. So you need to go down to the search bar here and then type in Excel, and then you get your version of the Excel over here. You just need to click on it and open it. This is the home page for Excel when you open it. So here you have different options over here. This is the home tab, then you have new, open, some other options down here. On the main page here, we have some templates over here. As you can see, these are different templates which you can use for your work. And if you click on the more templates option, you'll get loads of different templates over here. For example, you have the calendar, you can create an invoice. So these are built-in or pre-made templates which you can use as per your requirement. And then on the top you have different tabs as well for business, for personal use, list, budget, charts, calendar. So you can select any of these and it will show you different templates under each section. If we go back to the home tab, and to start with, we're going to start with a blank workbook. So workbook is actually the Excel book. So it's named as, so here Excel names it by default, it is named as book 1. So this is how the blank workbook looks. Now we're going to start off, as you can see here, we're going to start off with this section over here. This is called the name box. If you hover over to this one, you can also see a little note there saying the name box. Now, name box is something where it displays the name of the cell. So right where I've clicked this box over here, this is called, it's called a cell in Excel, and each cell has a name. So if you move to a different cell, as you can see on the top here, the name box shows different names. For example, if you move to this one, it shows E6, here it is D6, here it is F5, D9. So now the way name box works and the way the names for different cells are named is as per the rows and columns of that particular cell. So as we can see, first letter, which is the alphabet, that comes from the column name, which is D, and then we have the 6th row. So this is column D and 6th row, so that's how it's named, D6. If we move on to this one, it's E column, and then we have 9th row and it's named as E9. So this is how name box works. Next thing we're going to look at is the formula bar. If you hover over to this one, it shows you that it's called, let's go over here and you can see the formula bar appear over there. So if you click on it here, this is where you can type in your formulas. Now, formula bar, let me show you how it works. So for any formula, you have to press equals to start any formula. Now, if we type in, let's just put in some number here, and as you can see, whatever is typed in here, it shows up here in the formula bar as well. Now, let's say instead of 60, we're going to add a formula here. Let's say 23 plus 56. Sorry, let me type it again. So equals 20 plus 550 plus 300, and press enter. As you can see, you've got some number here. In the cell itself, it shows you the result of that formula. However, up here in the formula bar, it shows you the actual formula which has been applied to that particular cell. So you can either type in a number and it will show you the exact number over here in the formula bar, or if you have a formula applied, Then if you click on a particular cell, it will show you what kind of formula has been applied to that particular cell. So this is how you can find out which formula has been used on that particular cell, because it is shown up here in that particular cell for you. So there you go. We're just going to clear this for now. So next thing we're going to look at is the sheet section over here down at the bottom. As you can see, now next thing, before we move on to sheet, let's see that this is just one cell. If we select a different range of cells, this is called the range of cells, and the way it is named is that it is starting from E5 and it ends at I14. Okay, and then it is written as E5 let me show you another way. So for example, once you've selected this, then you type in E5. Okay, that's where it started, and then it's ending at the L17. So this is your range, and you write it as this way using the colon sign in between. So this is how. Now we're going to use this range later on, and this is very useful when you are doing some kind of data entry work, and I'll show you the use of this later on in this tutorial. So stay tuned for it. Now let's just clear this for now. Now let's move on to our sheet section down here. Now here, as you can see, sheet is something where you can have multiple sheets over here. For example, if you click on the plus sign here, it adds a new sheet to your workbook. Now, in this sheet section here, if you keep on clicking on the plus sign, you can add different sheets. And if we move back to sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and we can click on different sheets to move in between different sheets. Now, as you can see, each sheet has different data in there, and you can have multiple sheets if you want to work on different type of data and you want to have different things in one workbook. Then you can add different sheets. Now, if we click over here, for example, before we discuss the sheets in detail, let's see that we have some options here. So these options here, A, B, C, D. These are called the columns of the workbook or the sheet you're using. And if we move towards right, as you can see, there are starting from A, B, C, it goes on to Z, and then we have further options as well. And you have AA, AB, BC, D, AR. So you have different options over here. If you want to move to the end of the row, and you need to press the combination of short keys, which is Ctrl and then the right arrow key. That will take you to the last key or the last cell of that particular sheet. And if you want to move back to the first one, you need to press Ctrl and then the left arrow key, and takes you to the left corner. So Ctrl right and Ctrl left to go right and left in the sheet to the edges of the sheet. Now, as you can see, if we move down, for example, if we move down, then you can see you have some numbers on the right, and these are the rows. If you move down, you can just go down and you have multiple rows over here. Now, if we want to go down to the bottom of this particular sheet and see how many rows are there, you need to press Ctrl and then press the down arrow key. As you can see, you're now down at the bottom of your screen, and this is the end of the Excel sheet. Now, as you can see over here, this is how many rows are there in the Excel sheet, which is 1048,576. So this is how many rows are there in one Excel sheet. And now if you want to clear this, let's clear this, and we move back to the top of the sheet. We will press Ctrl and then the up arrow key, and will take you back to the top of the page or the sheet. Now, as you can see, you might have noticed that the screen is slightly zoomed in. Now, in order to zoom in this sheet, you have multiple options over here. You can press the combination of keys, which is Alt V and then Z, which is the Z. So Alt V Z to get this zoom area over here. If you select, you can then select what kind of percentage of zoom you want to use. Currently I'm using 200, then press OK, and then there you go, you have this option. And alternatively, if you want to zoom in, you can also press the control key on your keyboard, and then you can use the scroll bar of your mouse to zoom in and zoom out. So this is how you can use or different keys or different ways you can use the zoom function. And alternatively, there's another option if you go down to this section over here to the bottom of the screen, here you have the option to zoom in and as well. If you press the plus key, it zooms in, and if you press the minus key, it zooms out. Max zoom in option is currently we're at 200%. So maximum you can go is the 400%. So this is how far you can go and zoom in on the Excel sheet. I'm going to go back to 200. There you go. Okay, so the next thing we were discussing is the sheets over here. Now, in order to use different sheets, we usually use these for different types of data. If we want to work on different sheets at the same time, you're dealing with some sales data in the first sheet, and you have some calendar here, you have some charts, so you have different types of data, so you can create multiple sheets over here. Now you can also rename these sheets as well. So if you click over here, right click here, and then it gives you different options over here. You can click on the rename option, and then here you can type in the name. For example, you just name this school data. Now another thing I would recommend is to use, if there's a space in between two words, then use the underscore option. That way it helps you when you're dealing with some advanced functions of the Excel. So although this tutorial is for beginners, but it would really help you when you'll be ready to use some advanced functions at a later stage as well. So start using some habits which would help you use those at a later stage when you're dealing with some more advanced options as well. So always use the underscore option in between the names if you want to name a sheet. Now next thing is, we also have some options. If we right click here, you have the option to insert. If you click on insert option, you can insert a worksheet here, press OK, and then it inserts the sheet. As you can see, if I right click here and then insert it, it inserts the sheet onto the left side of that particular sheet. But if you use the plus sign, then it enters the sheet next to that particular sheet. So this, with the plus function, it adds the sheet next to the sheet selected. However, if you right click it and then insert it, it will insert the sheet towards the left of that currently selected sheet. Okay, next thing, we have some other options over here as well. For example, if we right click here, you can also view the code, protect the sheet. Next thing is that you can also use a tab color as well. For example, for this particular sheet, we use red color, and then for the next one, we use blue. For this one, we can use orange. So you can also shape these, and you can also give different colors to these sheets as well, and that way you can differentiate between different sheets, and kind of gets every sheet gets highlighted as well, so it would be easy to get to different sheets over here. So this is how you can deal with different sheets in Excel. Now next thing we're going to look at is we're going to type some data over here, and then we're going to go into detail about some data entry techniques. So let's type in some data. Serial number. Then we have student name. Let's take gaps. And we have some subjects. This is subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, and we're going to calculate the total. Now, as you can see here, especially this one, here we have written student name. However, student name is not showing up completely over here. It's kind of hidden. So if you take your mouse cursor, let's zoom in a little bit so you can see it more clearly. As you can see here, if we take the cursor to the middle over here between the two columns and then click and drag it, now you can see the full data written inside that particular cell. So this is how you can adjust the width of a column. Another thing is to adjust this. If we move it back, now in order to adjust this, if you click on it here, select that column and then select this and then double click in between the two columns, and that way it adjusts it automatically as per the content. So if we had more content, it would adjust as per the content written inside that particular column. So these are two ways you can adjust the width of a column. Alternatively, if we want to adjust the width of all the columns, then what we can do is we can select multiple ones, or what we can do, we can select everything using Ctrl A and double click here, and now you can see that the rest have been adjusted as per the width as well. So this is how you can adjust the width of the columns. So we're going to calculate some things over here, which is total. We're going to go to max, min, average, and then we're going to calculate the percentage, and then we're going to have count function, and then we will have the results, and we're also going to calculate the grade for each of the students as well. Okay, now we're just going to you can also select everything from here as well, and then we're going to adjust the column width from here. As you can see, we have everything over here. Let's zoom out slightly so we can see everything. Okay, so let's type in some data. Now here we're going to type in some numbers. So we're going to give some serial numbers here. So as you can see, I've typed in two numbers here, and now what I can do is, if you go down to the right corner, if you select two cells and then go to this little corner, and change it when this plus sign changes to the smaller plus, and then drag it down, as you can see, it fills in the rest of the series for you in that particular series. Now it by default it fills in as per the gap between the two numbers which we had initially selected. So for example, if we clear this and if we type in 3 over here, then now we select these two and move down, you'll see that it has a difference of 2 in between, and it fills in as per the gap between the first two cells which we had selected initially. Now there are some other ways to fill in as well. For example, if we want to if you just type in number 1 and then use plus sign to drag down, it will fill in the same number, so it will copy the cells down the line. Now we don't want to do this, we want to use fill in the series. In order to do that, what you need to do is if you go down to this option here and then drag down, and once you've dragged down, you see this little box over here. It gives you the autofill options. If you click on this, you have different options. So you can either use copy cells, you can fill series, you can fill formatting only, fill without formatting, flash fill. So you have different options here. So here, if we select the fill series option, as you can see, it has now turned into a series. So you can use this little box here in the corner to switch between copy cells and series. So if we select the copy cells again, it will convert it back to 1, and if we select the fill series, it will switch it to a series in between. So for now, we're just going to take around 5 students for now. So let's go up here, and as you can see, we're going to type in some names of the students over here. So let's say we have John, Alan, James, Harry, William. Okay, so we have some names here, and we're going to fill in some numbers over here. So this is where that range comes into play. So in order to add the data here, we're going to select this range of subjects because we want to type in the numbers here. And once you've selected the range, let's see how what the good thing is. I'm going to type in some numbers here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, now as you can see, the good thing about using this range is that as you type in the number and you press the enter key, it automatically moves to the next function. Let me go back. Okay, we type in some number here. Now as you can see, the good thing between this is that it moves between that particular range. So if you type in a number, once you've selected the range, you don't have to use the arrow keys to move to the next cell. If you enter the number and then press the enter key, it takes you to the next cell. So if you keep on pressing the enter key, it will move in between within that particular range. It won't move out of the range. So this is a quick way. This is a useful tip when you're doing the data entry work. You can use this tab to quickly add the data, and you just type in the number or the text and press enter, and it will move to the next cell automatically within the range. And it will move once it's finished from here, it will move up here, and then once it's finished from here, let's see, I'm pressing the enter key and it moves to the next key or the next cell over here automatically. So this is very useful for data entry. Okay, so this is that tip. Now if we move on to the next cell here we want to calculate the total or the sum of all these 3 subjects. Now there are different ways to calculate this. So first thing is, if we move on to the option over here you have an option of auto sum. So if we click on it, as you can see, it has automatically detected that we have the numbers on the left and we want to calculate the sum for this. You just need to press enter, and here you go, you have the sum of all these 3 numbers. Okay, now before we calculate this, if we select this, the total for this is 131, for this one 153, this is 197, this is 109. Now you must be thinking, now how am I able to calculate the sum for this so quickly without seeing it on the screen? Well, actually Excel does it for you. If you select all 3 of these, if you move down to the this section over here. Here you can see that Excel calculates the sum, the count, and the average function automatically when you select different cells over here. So here the sum is 188 and there is the average. So Excel has some built-in functions and it calculates it for you. Now here, in order to calculate the total, as we have seen, we can go up to the auto sum function over here in the home tab, and then it can calculate the sum for these three numbers here. Now this auto sum, it's actually a function. Now there are a couple of things in Excel. One is called formula and then there is function. So there's a slight difference between two. So functions are something which are predefined in Excel, which we can use, and formula is something which is we insert manually. For example, if we want to calculate the total for these three as a formula, what we can do is we can go equal and then use this, which is 54 plus 45 plus 32, and then it gives you 131. Now this is a formula which we've used here. Now function is slightly different, which is automatically there and which is built in Excel. So we're going to use the auto sum function. If we click on it here, it selects the cell and it tells you that it is going to calculate the sum of these three cells, and then you press enter. And there you go, you have your data here. Now if you want to calculate the sum for the rest of the subjects, for the rest of the students over here down the line, now a quick way to calculate this is if you take the mouse cursor to this bottom corner of this particular cell and then double click it, it will fill in the rest of the data for you in the column. Alternatively, what you can do is you can click on this and then drag it down, and then it will also calculate or do the same thing for you. So there are two ways: either you can double click or you can just drag it down and it fills in the formula for you. Next thing we need to calculate is the max function. Now if we go to the auto sum function over here, and you see a little drop down arrow here. If you click on it, you have some different options over here. You have average, count numbers, max and min. So you have these functions already built in, available within the Excel. So for max, we just need to click on max. Now an alternate to get to this max function is to press the Alt key, and as you can see, when you press the Alt key in Excel, it shows you different shortcuts for different tabs over here. So as you can see on the top, we have different tabs, which is file, home, insert, page. These are called the tabs of Excel. And then this area over here, which is where we have different options like clipboard, font, alignment, number. These are different groups of each particular tab. So under home tab, we have clipboard, font, alignment, number. These are groups, and this whole area is called the ribbon of Excel. Now talking about the Alt key, if we click on the Alt key here, you can see that there are different shortcut keys appearing over here. You need to press Alt, and then if you want to go to the home tab, you press the H key, and then inside the home tab, it again shows you different smaller keys which you can use to open up different functions. So currently we're interested in the max function. So for max function, we need to go to and press so let's go back, and we are on the max function here. Press Alt and then H, and then for auto sum it's U, and then inside the auto sum function we have different options. So for max, we can press the M key and it will calculate the max for you. And here you go, you have the max formula here, and you press enter, and there you go, it has calculated the max function for you, and then you can just double click it here to calculate it. Okay, Next we have min. We can go to min the same way, which is Alt H U, and for min we have the I button. So we click on that, press enter. There you go. You can then drag it down to fill the rest of it. And we can do the same thing for average as well. You can press Alt H U, and for average it's A, and then press enter. And here you go. You have different. You can then drag it down here, and it fills in the rest of the details for you. Now, as you can see, we have filled in the formula. Now for average, if we want to keep the average to few decimal places, for example, if we move it further, as you can see, it has multiple things or multiple digits after the we want to keep just few decimal places, like just 2. Then there is a function in Excel which you can use. So if you select this data range and then go up here in the tab on the top, here you have different options, which is increase decimal and decrease decimal. So you can use these to decrease or increase the decimal places after the dot. So if you click on decrease decimal, it will decrease it. You can even make it a round number, but for now we want to keep this to 2 digits after the dot sign. So let's do this, and then we adjust the column width. So as you can see, it is adjusted now. For now, we're going to calculate the percentage. So for the percentage, I'm going to apply a formula equals, and the way percentage is calculated is that we are going to take the total numbers obtained by that particular student and then divide this. We're going to use the divide function here. Okay, and then divide this by the total number. So for now we have used each of these numbers, which is 54, 45, 32. These have been obtained out of 100. So we're going to the total of these 3 subjects, out of which this particular student has obtained 131, is actually 300. So obtain marks out of the total marks, and we're going to multiply this by 100, and that gives you the percentage. Press enter, it gives you the percentage. You can double click it and it fills in the rest of it for you. As you can see, if you move it along, you can see that there are multiple digits after decimal places. So if we want to do the same thing as average for this one, we can go back to the decrease decimal option and then make it 2, and this way it becomes a uniform thing for all of the values, and then we can select the column and adjust it here. Okay, so this is how we can calculate the percentage. Now for the count function, as we had seen, we had an option over here inside the auto sum. If we go to count numbers, click on it, and here, as you can see, it has taken all the numbers on the left. However, we are not interested in everything on the left here, okay, because it is we don't want to calculate it, we don't want to include all these numbers. We just want to calculate the count for these 3 subjects. So for that, in order to move this data range, we can either select it by using the mouse and dragging it over the 3 subjects, or alternatively, if we go back where we had everything selected, let's go back to the count function. Let me show you another way how you can move this. So if you press the shift key and then use the left arrow key, you can move it back to 3 subjects only, and then press enter, and it calculates the count for you, and then you can double click it to fill in the rest of it as well. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the percentage and the count, and also the average as well. Now for the average, for min and max, you might have seen that we've done a mistake here, which you might not have noticed. So let's clear this here. There you go. Let's delete this. And for the max function, if we go to the max function here, and as you can see, it has selected, other than the subjects, it has also selected the total value as well. But we don't want the total value, so we're going to use the same thing, which is shift and left arrow key, and then press enter. Now we have the max for these out of these three subjects. Fill in here, or let's do another thing here. I'm going to calculate the min function. Go up here, min, and then as you can see, we want to move it back to the subjects only. Press enter. And for average, we're going to do the same thing here, average, and we're going to move it back to the three subjects only. Press enter. Now what we can do is we can select all of these and then press double click it here, and it fills in the rest of it for you. Alternatively, there is a shortcut key for this as well. We're going to use the shift key and then select the rest of the area, and then press Ctrl D to fill in the rest of the data for you. So this is the shortcut key which you can use, which is shift to select the rest of the data, and then Ctrl D to fill in or copy down the list. So this is how you can calculate different functions in Excel. Now, next thing we're going to move on is the results. Before we calculate the results for the grade function, we're going to look into the option of conditional formatting here. Now, how this works is, we're going to select some data over here, which is the subjects and the total, and we're going to apply the conditional formatting on these. If you click on this, you have different options over here, which is highlight cells, and then inside each tab you have different options here. So if we go to the highlight cells rules, and then we go to the greater than option, now here we can use this, and you have multiple options over here, so we're going to go through these one by one. So let's click on greater than option, and as you can see, it has we can select all the numbers. So for now, let's just not take away the total number. Let's just select these three subject columns or rows only for now, and go back to conditional formatting, go to greater than, and if we want to for example, we want to highlight the numbers which are greater than 35 or less than 30. For now, I mean, this is the greater than function, so we're going to use something which is greater than 35. And if we add 35 here, you can see it has highlighted the numbers at the back, and we can choose different colors for that as well. You can use the green color, you can use the red light, you can use red text. We have different options over here, red border. So if we go to the custom format option here, let's see here, and then we can also fill in different options. We can use fill option to fill in the background, or we can change the color of the font as well by going to the option over here. So for now, let's cancel this. Let's do something here. For example, we have multiple numbers over here, so something which is for example, we want to highlight things which is greater than 70. Let's give it a color. So for greater than 70, we want to make it green. Okay, and we can also apply it if we for something less than 35, we want to make it red, so which is the current one here. So, or we can just use this red light fill, or we can use the red text to color it red. And for the between option, we're going to use another function here. So for example, if we go to this area here and we want to highlight the numbers which are between 150 and 200, so if we go to the highlight cells option and then select the between option, we're going to use 150 and 200 and give it a number, for example, or give it some kind of let's select this one for now to give it a color and press OK. As you can see, it has highlighted numbers between 150 and 200. So next thing we had here is the equal to sign or text that contains a date. So for the equal to, let's select some data here and we go back to conditional formatting, go to equal to, and we type in, for example, we want James's data, so select James and we highlight it with the red border and press OK. As you can see, it has highlighted James's name with the red border. So this is how we can use the equal to function within the conditional formatting. Now next thing we have here is the text that contains. So if we click on this over here and we type in something, let's say H, and you'll see that it will highlight the cells where the letter H is there. So John has the letter H and Harry has the alphabet H as well. So this is how you can highlight different cells using the text that contains option. Next we have is the a date occurring option. So currently we don't have any dates here, but if we type in a date over here, let's see, today's date 15/7/2020. Now if we select this and if we go fill some more dates here, okay, and now if we go to the conditional formatting option, go to a date occurring, we can select different options here. Select today, we can select tomorrow, we can select anything, we can select next month, this week, next week. You select this week, it selects everything for you. So if we had more dates, we could even check the options of last month, this month, next month. So this is how you can use this function, a date occurring function, to highlight different dates. And this can be very helpful when you're presenting something and you want to highlight few dates only within your data. So this can be a very useful tool for that. Okay, let's use this for now. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is the duplicate values option. So for the duplicate values, if we select this column here, okay, and we use the conditional formatting and we select duplicate values, and here as you can see, we can either use the duplicate option or the unique option as well. So there are two functions inside it. Now and then press OK. Now here we have already applied. So for example, if we type in Alan's name again, as you can see, it has highlighted both cells named Alan. However, if we type a different name like Henry, so it wouldn't highlight anything. It will only highlight things if we repeat something. For example, if you type in John again, it will highlight the cells that. So this is how you can apply conditional formatting, which is duplicate values. And if you have any duplicate values within your data, you can highlight those and you can remove those. Maybe one of the entries, you can remove one of the entries and keep the others. So this is how you can use the duplicate values function formatting to highlight different things. So let's clear this now. Okay, now next thing we're going to look at is we have the top bottom rows. You can use the top 10 items, top 10 percentage, bottom 10 items. For example, top 10, we select this data here and go to top 10. It has highlighted top 10 values over here. So this is how we can use this function. Okay, next we have some data bars over here. So let's see, now if we want to clear the formatting which has been applied on these cells, we select the data and we go to conditional formatting, clear rows, and here we have multiple options. We can either clear the rows from the selected cells or from the entire sheet. For now we just want to clear this from the selected cells. Click on it. As you can see, it has removed all the conditional formatting for us. Now here, next thing we were looking at is the data bars. So if we select, for example, some data here and we go to data bars option, as you can see, we move to different things and it shows you the data as per the values of that particular cell. So you can use this to, if you want to highlight or you're presenting a report, you can use this to show how much of each data is there. For example, 78 is the highest value. If you put 78 over here, it will fill in that particular cell because 78 is the highest value. And then it fills it percentage wise, the rest of the values as per the highest value. So this is how you can use this data bars function. Next to this, we have color scales. So we can also use the color scales. Let's clear this for now and then go back to color scales so we can see it better. As you can see, you can also use different color scales to highlight your data. Okay, next to this, we also have the icon sets which we can use. We use directions, we can use shapes, we can use the indicators, and we have some other options here as well. This one over here, it's actually like the network. So this can be a very useful tool as well. If you select this, as you can see, you can now see different bars of data. This is 78 the highest. So if we change this to 34, as you can see, it has automatically updated the rest of the data, and here it has changed this value as well. For example, if we change this to 65, now you can see it has a few more bars as compared to what it had before. So this is how you can use this to present it. Now the next thing we can do is, if we don't want to show these numbers, we can we just want these data bars to be shown and we don't want the numbers to be shown along with these. Then what we can do is, in order to remove these, we can go to this number tab, click on this little arrow here, and then we have different options. We go to the custom one, and then instead of journal, if we type in semicolon here and then press OK, as you can see, the numbers are gone. Although the numbers are there, but we can't see those because let's type in a number here. For example, 55, press enter. As you can see, it has changed the formula. The numbers are there, and then now you can see two bars over here as well. So the numbers are there, but we can we can hide those using that by going to the number tab here and then selecting the custom options from this. So I'm just going to go undo this and keep this here. Okay, so this is how you can use different functionalities within the conditional formatting option over here. Okay. Next thing we're going to look at is the table function, how we can change this data into a table. So if we have multiple options here, we can either format as a table, and we can use different templates from this one. Alternatively, if we go to the insert option, we can use the table option from here as well. So for now, we're just going to use this. Let's select the data. Okay, and then we're going to click on format as table, and then we're going to use whatever template is more suitable for us. Let's select this one over here. If you click on that, it gives you shows you the range. So this is your range. If you're happy with this, starting with A1 to M6, which is this one. So we're happy with this. And the next thing here, we have a little option which says my table has headers. So we do have the headers as serial number, student name. So we do have the headers. So we want to keep this checked. Let's go ahead and click OK. As you can see, your data has now been changed into a table. So the good thing about table is that it has multiple options and multiple functionalities with some benefits. Here, as you can see, when you convert the data into a table, it applies a filter option. It gives you the filter option here, where you can sort the data by color or A to Z, Z to A. You have some text filters as well. Other than that, you have some other good options as well. For example, if we remove this total data over here, and then we go and apply the total function over here, which you can use Alt and equal function to get the data. So this is another shortcut key to get the sum function, which is Alt and then press the equal key. So Alt equal to get this formula, and as you can see, by default it has selected the data for the three subjects. Press enter, and as you press enter, you can see it has filled in the rest of the data as well, so you don't have to drag this down. So this is another cool feature about tables, that you don't have to apply formulas repeatedly. You can just calculate one and it fills in the rest of it for you. Another good thing is, if we add in another student over here, let's say type in 6, as you can see, and once you type in 6, it has added another row underneath it, and the rest of the formulas are already copied in as per so all the formatting of the table has been copied in along with the formulas. So here, if you type in just few names here, for example, we type in name of the student, which is Kevin. Okay, sorry. Okay, and we type some values here. Okay, now you can see we've just typed in the subject marks. It has already calculated automatically the rest of the values for us. So this is good feature about table. Next thing we're going to look at inside the table is that how to use the this sort function over here inside the table. Okay, inside the table, I mean, it has all the formatting already. Now let's remove the table. For example, we don't want the table anymore, and you've created a table, but now you don't want the table anymore. So once you create a table, you can see up here, you see a small design tab over here. Okay, and this way it gives you some extra options for your table. Now if we want to convert this back to our normal data, you have an option over here which is called convert to range. If you click on this, let's see what happens. As you can see, it has taken away the sorting and all the other formatting, but it has not changed the formatting. However, it has taken away the sort and other functionalities. Now in order to make this a normal one again, to make it a normal table as we had initially, we have some other option over here inside the home tab. If we go to the clear option over here, click on the drop down, and we have multiple options. We can either clear everything, and clear the formats, clear the contents, clear comments, and clear hyperlinks. So if you click on the clear formats option, as you can see, it has removed all the formatting, and now your data is back to normal, which is what we had initially. So here it has removed this, so we're going to change this to, let's make it 2 decimals, and then let's fix this. Okay, so now we have our data back to normal. Now we're going to apply the sort function here. Let's see how that works. So we select all the data, and here if we go to the data tab here, we can use the sort function. Or first we're going to apply filter. Let's look into the filter option over here. If you click on it, you can see you have multiple filters applied to your data. Now if you click on, for example, this one here, you have different options here. Now if you go to the select student name one, and what we want is, we don't want to show the data for everyone, we just want the data for James and John. We just select all, and we only select James and John, and then press OK. As you can see, you have the data for James and John only now. And then you can select it all again and press OK, and it will show you the rest of the data as well. Now next thing we can do here inside the filter option, we have sort option, which is sort A to Z or Z to A, and we can also sort it by color as well. Here we have some text filters, which is equals, does not equal, begins with, ends with, contains. So we have used similar functionalities earlier as well. For example, if we click on equals and then we type in James, press OK, it will show you the data for James only. So this is how you can use this function. Now we're going to select all, press OK, and here you have all the data. Now next thing we have is the sort function over here. We can either sort the data A to Z or Z to A, or if you click on the sort function, it also gives you different levels within your data as well. So for the sort data, we'll have to use a different type of data, because we wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to explain exactly how you can use sort with this, but I'll create a different video on the sort function, and then I'll be adding a link to that in the description at a later stage. So stay tuned for it, and you will get some extra functionality about the sort function as well. Okay, so let's clear the filters which we had applied. If you click on filter again, it clears up the filter for you. Okay, so next thing we're going to look at is the charts. We're going to create some charts for our students here. So we're going to select the data here, and then we're going to create a chart on this. Now in order to create charts, we have different options. If we go to the insert option here, which is the insert tab, and then we have the options to create charts. Here we have some recommended chart options. If you click on this, here you have different options here which you can use, and then you can either go to all charts, and then you have different types of chart options, and these are some recommended ones which you can use by default. And then inside, if you click on the all charts option, it gives you the option to create all types of different charts, which is bar chart, pie chart, line, column chart, and you have some histograms and other options as well. So let's go back to our data again. Here, in order to insert a chart, we have different options here. So for now, we're just going to insert a column chart. and we're going to as you can see, this is dynamic. So if we move on to different chart options here, it shows you the preview underneath it, as you can see it here. Okay, now for now we're just going to use, let's say we use this. As you can see, we have the data, the chart over here underneath it, and then here we have the subjects, we have the chart title. Now let's see if we want to move this chart to a different sheet, and we want this on a different sheet. What we can do is we can delete this for now. We have the data selected. If we press the F11 key, it will create a chart as per your data, which is we have the data on sheet 3, this sheet here. As you can see, you can move these sheets to different spaces as well. Like if we want to move 4 in front of 5, you can just drop it here, drag and drop, and this way you can change the position of different sheets as well. So we have our data on the sheet number 3, and as you can see, by selecting the data and then pressing the F11 key, we can insert a chart on a different sheet. So here we can do the formatting easily. Let's zoom in a little. Okay, let's zoom out slightly. Okay, so now we have our data here. As you can see, this is called Legion, where we have all the subjects. Then we have the names of different students underneath each student, and on the top we have the chart title as well. So we can just name it anything here, like students data, or we can just name it anything. And then here we can also apply all the formatting. Here we can make it bold, we can change the color, we can even make it green or whatever suitable color you want to do. Okay, so let's and even on this one over here, this particular bit, we can also make it bigger, and we can also change the color of the text. We make it black or any color, and we can also change the background as well. We can also make it bold. So we can do all the formatting which is available on the home tab on any of these over here, and we can even use this as well. Now if you want to move this particular bit on the top, you can also use that. You just select it and then drag and drop over here on the top as well, or just underneath the student data. So we can drag and drop things onto different sides as well. If we select the chart and then we go to the design option over here, because this appears when we have the design, when we insert a chart, you get this extra tab of design where you can use different functions. So here if we go to different style options here, as you can see, it changes the chart to as per your as per the style selected. For example, let's zoom out slightly. So we've zoomed out slightly here. We can use different options over here. Let's select this particular one, as you can see, and then it has applied all the formatting as per that particular style. Now you can see all the things over here. Now if we want to change the colors, we can also change the colors, and if you see as we move on to different options, it is changing the colors over here. Okay, so we can change the colors this way. For example, we select this, and other than this, we also have the quick layout option where we can change it, and we can select different things here. If we want to show the values on top of each of the bars, we can select this option. Okay, and now you can see 65, 54, 76. You can see different values displayed on top. Okay, and next to that, we can also add some chart elements as well. For example, we want to use add axis. Primary is the one which is the horizontal axis, and if you want to add the vertical axis as well, you can see if I add it, you can see the values on the left. If we add this here, we have the names at the bottom, and then we have the values on the y-axis. And here we can also add a name for the axis as well. For example, for the vertical axis, we can add a name here. Okay, and we select it all, and we can then make it bigger. Okay, and then we can call it values. Okay, or the marks which have been obtained by each of the students. And we can also name this axis as well. If you go to the design tab, axis title, and the primary axis, and then we can here we can name it like subjects. Okay, so this is how you can name, and then we can make it big as well. Selecting this and making it bigger. Here we go. This is how you can use the formatting, and then automatically adjust the space over here on the chart. Let's go back to our design tab here. Let's explore some other options. We can also add the chart title. Chart title, if it is not there, we can add it above the chart. We can center the overlay. Okay, or we can add some more title options as well, and that way it gives you the option to add fill in or add a border, so you can use these to adjust the title of your chart. Next thing we have is the data labels. As you can see, it changes the position of the labels. It could be on the inside end, inside base, outside end on the top as we had initially, or it can be put in this way as well, where it says the name along with the marks obtained over here. So we can use different functions over here. For now, if we keep it inside base, which is down at the bottom for everyone, we can use this. Now next thing is the data labels. This is what we've just discussed. Now next we have the data table option. We can have with legend keys, or we can have without the legend keys. So it all depends on you. So we can also insert the table underneath the chart. If we want to show the table along with the chart, we can insert the table underneath it as well. Next thing is we can add error bars here. Okay, and we can also add the grid lines to either put in the horizontal grid lines or major vertical ones, or you can even use the minor ones as well. So this is how you can use grid lines to be shown at the back of the charts as well. Now here, legend is something which is where it says this subject 1, subject 2, subject 3. This can be on the right side, it can be on top, it can be on the left or bottom. It all depends on us. So you can choose these options as well. Next thing we have is the trend line. could be linear. So this, because we have a different chart type, so this could apply to the line charts mostly. So if we had a line chart, we could apply, we can use this function as well. Now on the right, we can also switch rows and columns. For example, if we want the marks on the bottom and then subjects on the side, we click on this, it changes the data. So now we have the subjects at the bottom and the marks. So this is how you can switch between rows and columns. So the data gets switched. So students and subjects could be switched with each other. So this is how you can use this function to switch in between the rows and columns. Next is the select data option. If you click on this, it lets you reselect the data. For example, if we don't want all of the data, you can reselect it. Okay, but for now we don't want this, so we'll just go back to what we have. However, we can use this option if we want to change the data selection. For example, if we've added some extra data in our actual sheet here and we want to add that, then you can use this selected option and add it, and then the chart will automatically be adjusted as per your new data. Next is the change chart type option. If you click on this, you can change this to pie chart, line chart, bar chart, column chart. So you can use this option if you want to create a different type of chart. Then you can go to this change chart type option and then you can change the type over here. Next thing is the move chart option. If you click on this, and if you want to move this onto the sheet where you have the data, for example, if we click on object N and we have our data on the sheet 3, press OK, and you'll see you can now see your chart on the same sheet as your data, and then this way you can move the chart to different areas on your sheet or on your workbook. Now next thing we're going to go is we're just going to delete this for now. We don't want the chart for now, so we're just going to delete this. Okay, now we're back onto our main data over here, and we had some options left over here which we need to calculate. So we need to calculate the results and the grade. For the results, we're going to use the if function, or the if function available over here, or the if formula. So in order to apply the formula here, we're going to use, for example, we're going to use the conditional formatting. So the conditions are different. Let's say we have different types of if functions, which is if, and. Okay, let's zoom out slightly so you can see it all. Okay, if and, if or, and we have the if function as well. So first we're going to discuss the if function, and we are going to use the if function to calculate the results over here. So the if function, let's take a subject over here. Let me explain it on a single subject. For example, we have a subject called maths, and these numbers have been obtained out of 100. So the condition we're going to apply here is that anything if a student has the marks less than 35 marks in any of the subjects, then he would be pass or fail. So if he has anything less than 35, will be fail. If anything above 35, will be pass. I'm just going to go to take an example of maths first. And for example, we have a student who has obtained 53 marks in maths. Now, in order to say if he's, in order to calculate his result, we're going to apply the if formula here. So if you type in equals and if, and then press the tab key, okay, Now, as you can see, if you check over here, or let's go back one step. In front of the if formula, as you can see, it gives you a description of it. We have different if functions here. So if we say in front of if, it says checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. Okay, so it uses a condition and then it gives you one value if that if the condition is met, and if it is not met, then it gives you another value. Okay, so here we press the tab key, and then first we're going to apply the logical test, and the test is that if this value is greater than or equal to 35, okay, then it's a pass, and the pass would be written in inverted commas. Alternatively, if it isn't, then it's a fail. There you go, and then you press enter. As you can see, the result is pass because this number is greater than 35. Okay, so this is how the if function works. Now next is the if and formula. Now if and the way it works is that if we have multiple options here, for example, we have multiple subjects. This was just for one subject, so we use the if function. If we have multiple subjects, multiple values, and we can't use the if function, we'll have to use either the if and or if or function. So first, if we look at the if and function, we're going to calculate the result using the if and. If we go to the result section here, press enter, equals if tab and tab. Now inside and tab, you can see you can have different logical values over here, so you can have different conditions. Inside if function, it was only one condition. However, if you use the if and function, you can have different you can add multiple conditions inside it. So what we need to do is we need to add if this value or this cell is greater than or equal to 35, comma, this one is greater than or equal to 35, comma, this one is equal to or greater than or equal to 35, and then we close the bracket, okay, and comma. Now we're back into the if function. So if all of these values, all of these conditions are true, then it would be a pass. Okay, alternatively it will be a fail. Okay, now as you can see, the formula has moved to another row here. After the pass, after the comma, it then moved to another one. I haven't pressed any key, like I haven't pressed enter, because you don't need to press enter inside the formula. If you press it, it will mess up the formula. So if there's no space, the formula will automatically move on to the next row. So you don't have to worry about this. This is an automatic function. So now you just need to press the enter key here, and here you can see you don't have to worry about closing the brackets. It automatically adjusts it for you. You just need to accept this, and there you go. As one of the subjects are below 35, it gives you a fail. You can now fill in the rest. And as you can see, we have most of the class as fill. So let's just adjust some of these. Let's make it 45, and let's make this something higher as well. So we have 3 pass and 3 fill now. Okay, so we have our results here. So this has been obtained, or this has been calculated as per the if and function. Okay, now what if we want to use the if or function? We can use that to calculate the result as well. Let's add another column over here. Let me show you how you can add a column in Excel as well. So here, if we select this, if you want to insert a column in front of the grade, for example, we want to add another results column. After the results, we want to calculate another results using the if or function. Now, in order to add a column before the grade 1, what we can do is we can either click here, right click it, and then insert, and I will insert the column for you. Or alternatively, you can use the Ctrl plus key, which is Ctrl and then followed by the plus key, and that way it inserts a column for you. You can do the same thing with the row as well. For example, if you select this row and you want to insert a row above it, you can use the Ctrl and then the plus key to add a row above it. So this is how you can insert rows in Excel, and you can use the shortcut keys, which is Ctrl plus. Now, if you want to delete this row, for example, this first one, you can simply use Ctrl key followed by the minus key, and it will delete the row for you. And you can use the same thing for column as well. Ctrl minus and deletes the column for you. For now, we want to add another one, so we're going to add another one here, and we're going to name this results 2. Okay, let's adjust the column width here. So now we're going to use the if or function to calculate the results, and you will see the results will be the same. However, it will just be calculated using the if or function. Let's begin. Equals if tab, and then you press or tab, and then here you're going to add in your conditions here. Now the conditions are going to be slightly different because here for the AND function, it has to meet all the conditions, and then your value will be true. Here it will be slightly different. So we're going to use if this value is less than 35, okay, comma, next value is less than 35, comma, this value is less than 35, okay, then we close the bracket, and if any of these is true, then it will be a fail. Okay, alternatively it will be a pass. Okay, and then you just press enter. So now what we've done here is that if any of these values, the conditions are that the first subject's marks are less than 35, or second or third subject's marks, any of these subject marks are below 35, then it will be a fail. Alternatively, it will be a pass. Press enter and accept it. As you'll see, just drag it down. As you'll see, it has the same result as the first one. However, we've used if and function for the first results, and for the second one we've used the if or function. So this is how you can use these two functions to calculate the results. Next thing we're going to calculate is the grade. Now for the grade formula, we're going to use the if function, so or multiple ifs. In new versions of the Excel, it's called ifs, which is IFS. So let's get started with this. So the first thing is going to be if the result is equal to fail, then it will be a fail. Sorry. Okay, and now this is if the result is a fail. Okay, now if we move forward, now we move on to the next part of the next condition. So if it is a pass, so there will be another if function, and then we go for, let's move it slightly here. So if we go for if it is a pass, so for pass we're going to use the percentage over here. So if the percentage is greater than or equal to 70, let's say, then it's going to be an A grade. Okay. Okay. Now next there'll be another if function. Now if this percentage again is greater than or equal to 60, then it's going to be a B grade. B. Now next, if the same percentage is greater than or equal to 50, then it will be a C grade. Okay, and if same percentage now if this, make sure you press the tab key. So as I had not inserted it, so it gave me an error. So if this percentage is greater than or equal to 35, then it's going to be a D grade. Okay, so these are our grades. Let's see for now. And this has closed, or I mean this way we have all our if functions. So we press enter key and just accept the corrections. It will and close all the brackets for you. Okay, and then we have the D grade here because the percentage is between 35 and 50. Let's fill up the rest. As you can see, this one is a fail. We have B and C. Now if we want to see an A here, okay, then for that let's change the subject's marks. Let's make it 98, 87, 88, and there you go, we have our A grade because the percentage is now 91%. So this is how you can calculate the grades. For fail ones, it will be fail. Okay, so let's just remove this part for now, and then now we move on to our home tab, and let's look into some of the options in our home tab here. Okay, so as we can see here, we have some cut, copy, format, and clipboard options. So for example, if we want to paste some data, for example, these student names, and we paste it down here. Okay, now we can use the Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V, or alternatively, we can just use, once we copy it, we can use the paste option to paste it over here. Now, if we click on the drop down here, we have some paste special options as well. So if we click on the paste special options, it gives you different options over here where you can use different functions to use or to paste differently within Excel. So this is a complete topic, and it's a big one. So we'll be making a video on this. I've already made a video on Excel tips and tricks, so make sure to look at that one. I'll give you a link for that in the description as well. So you'll learn a lot about the Excel tips and tricks, and then there's a video about the Excel shortcut keys as well, which are mostly used shortcut keys. So make sure to check those videos so you'll get to know some of the good functionalities and also the tricks about the Excel. So here are different options you can use. For example, transpose, and press OK, and you'll get this. So there are different options which you can use over here. Okay, let's just clear this for now. Next thing we have, for example, we have a data here, we have copied it here, and let's see that we're going to look at the format painter option. Okay, so let's see that we apply some formatting on this one. For example, we change the color, which is of this one, we make it bold. Now, Format Painter is a really good functionality in Excel. It's also available within Word as well, but within Excel, mostly people, I mean, we've all seen it there, but most of us have never used it. So the way it works is, if we click on this cell here, we've applied some formatting, we've changed the background color, and we've made it bold as well. So if we select this cell and then go to Format Painter, okay, now you can see that with the arrow, with the pointer, the mouse pointer, you have little brush as well. So now whatever cell I'm going to click on, it's going to apply the same format as this particular cell. So for example, if I select all of this, it will apply this one, the same formatting as this particular cell on all the above cells. So this is how I can change the formatting. Alternatively, now this is as you can see, now the painter is gone. It can only apply once, and then I can't, if I click somewhere else, it won't apply the formatting again. Now if I want to, there's another way of using the Format Painter. If I select this cell and then I double click on this option, now what I can do is I can click on this cell, I can click on this, so I can do the multiple changes and it won't go away. So this is how I can use it once or twice. So this way, if I want to highlight some particular values inside the data with some special formatting, I can select those. So you can either use the Format Painter. If you want this to go away, just click on Format Painter again and the brush is gone now. So you're free to use it normally. So this is how there are two ways to use Format Painter. So you can either use it with single click, or if you want to make changes to any particular values, then you can double click on it and then just do the manual formatting. You can apply it to different values manually. Next thing we have over here is this borders functionality. So let's just clear this here. Sorry. So we're going to go back to the data as we had before. Let me clear this as well. I'm going to. So we have applied some formatting here. if I want to clear this, I'm going to go to clear and clear formats. There you go, it's cleared. Okay, so now we have our data here. There's another functionality before we move on to the borders functionality. Let's check this merge and center function. Let's see if we add another row over here, which is using Ctrl plus. Okay, and now if I want to add a heading on top of this table, and let's say I write it to okay, so I've written school data. Now this is I want this to be in middle of on top of this data and in the middle. So there's an option in Excel where you can just click on merge and center, and it will delete. It will make it a single cell and then make it a centralized function. And if you click on the merge and center, it gives you different options inside it. But by default, this is mostly used functionality, which is called merge and center. If you want this to go away, then just click on it again. It will go away. But if you click on it, it will center the data and will make it a single cell. So you can just add a heading for your data over here. Now for the borders functionality, if we select our data, and then here we have the option of all borders. So why borders are applied usually within Excel? First thing is that it differentiates the data, although we have those lines over here, but those are just for to show you the difference, that there are different cells there. However, those are just guidelines. However, this one, the usage of this is that if we click on Ctrl P to print this data, you'll see that where we have applied the borders, it only picks up that particular area and it shows as an Excel sheet. However, if we take away the borders, there's an option. If you don't want the borders, just click on no borders. And if we click on Ctrl P now, as you will see, there are no borders here. So these lines are just guided lines, and these are not the borders. If you want to apply the borders, or if you want to see the borders while you're printing any data, then you would have to add the borders on your data. So let's add all borders. And so this is about borders. Another thing we can look at over here is on top we have different options where we can change the font for the data. We can also make it bold, underline, or italic. We can change the color. For example, for this one, make it red. So we can use different options. It's similar as your Word document. Now this option here, as you can see, if we take our cursor to the middle of between two rows over here and then move it here, you'll see that the width or the height of this particular row has been increased now. This is how we can adjust the height of a row, or just like we had adjusted the width of a column by dragging it along and then clicking it here and then dragging it, we can also do the same thing, and we can adjust the height of the rows as well. Now if we want to adjust the height of all these rows, so we can select all of these. If we want to make it bigger, you'll see that it has been applied to all the rows here. Okay, so for this particular row, we have made the we have changed the height of this one. Now here we have different options here. On the top, it's center align. If we click on this one, middle align, as you can see, it has moved the data up within that particular row, and then you can also move it to the top side, bottom side, or make it middle. So this is how you can see the changes over here. Another thing is you can change the orientation. Like click on it this way. This can be vertical text. You can use it this way. So you can use different ways to present your data. So for now, we're just going to keep it normal, go back to normal. Okay, and we're just going to make it center. Next thing we're going to look at is the wrap text option. So if we are, let's rename this value, let's call it name of the student. Okay, and let's make it slightly bigger. Okay, so now if we select the cell and click on the wrap text option, as you can see, it wraps up the text and automatically moves it to the next row within the same cell, and then it adjusts it within that particular cell for you. So this is how wrap text works. Alternatively, if we want to move the data, for example, we clear out the wrap text, and here if we want to move the word student onto the next line, you can use Alt plus Enter key to move it to the next row within the same cell. So Alt Enter kind of works the same way as wrap text as well. So you can use either of these as per your requirement. So these are some additional functionalities. Other than that, we have different options here where we can choose which type of format we want. We want journal, number, currency, accounting, date. So we have different options here for the data. For example, if we type in a date here, let's say it's 15th of July today. Now, as you can see, it has automatically been converted into a date. Now, if we go over here and click on the number option, it will change this into a number. Why this has happened? Because we've changed this the format or for this cell into a number. Now, if we change it back to short or long date, then it will switch back to the date option. So this is how you can use different options here to switch between currency, numbers, general format. So these can be very useful. Okay, so I guess we have summed up almost all the options available within the Excel. Although there's a lot within Excel which can be learned. However, this tutorial is for the beginners, so we'll be covering much more detail, and we have some other videos available on our channel, so make sure to check those. One last thing before we close this tutorial is to check some options within the printing option. For example, let's go to Ctrl P, go to our printing option here. As you can see, the last column you can see is the count column here, and you can't see the rest of it over here. And once you press Ctrl P, you can see that you'll see a small dotted line over here. Let me here on the count one, you can see a small dotted line over here. This means that anything on the right side, these three columns won't be part of the print area. So if we want to, let's make it bigger. Okay, if we want to print the rest of it, how we can do it? First thing we can do is, let's select the data and adjust the column width. Let's see now, if we go to Ctrl P, we can see the results section as well. Okay, however, we want to include these two as well. Let's say that we close one of these, or we want both of these. Now, another option available within Ctrl P or the print options is, if we make this, instead of portrait, we can make it a landscape, and in landscape we can now see all the data over here. However, if we still want this to be in portrait, because we won't be able to have that many rows, there's another option here in the corner which says show margins. So if we click on this, it gives you the margins over here, and then we can manually adjust the column. here, you can manually adjust the margins over here on both ends, and that way we can include some extra data. And now we have the all different columns. Grade was the last one, so we have all the columns over here now. So this is the last scenario. If you want to include many columns, you can use this option as well to adjust the column width, and you can adjust your margins and add some additional data over here as well. Okay, so that's all for today's video. We have covered pretty much everything which is usually required at the beginner level. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today, and make sure to like this video if you've liked it, and do let us know in the comment section what you've learned today and what was your favorite part. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, so you can stay tuned to our upcoming videos as well. And there are some other videos available regarding Excel as well. There's a whole playlist, and we'll be adding more videos onto the same playlist as well in the future. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you'll be notified for any upcoming videos. That's all for today. You have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.